Hi guys, thank you for watching my channel. Today we're going to be talking about Neptune in the 5th house. So what is Neptune? Neptune is the parts of us that wants to transcend everyday reality through faith, through dreams, through creativity, through love, sex, as well as drugs and alcohol. It is where we do not have boundaries. It is unconditional love. It is where we can deceive or be deceived easily. It is where we are vulnerable. It is also our idealism. It is where in our charts we can lack direction, where we can also lack focus. Now, what is the 5th house? The 5th house is the house of recreation. It is our self-expression. It is where we want to shine and where we want to be seen, where we might want to be the center of attention. This is also where children are, as well as our inner child. This is where we find joy. This is also where we can have issues with gambling or being too risky. And this is also romance and sexuality within our charts. As always, I want to remind you guys that we are complex beings. You are not defined by one aspect alone. These are my personal interpretations, so they are never meant to discourage. So please feel free to just take what speaks to you and release the rest. So let's get started. Neptune in the 5th house. You are someone with an extremely vivid and grand imagination. This is where Neptune in your chart wants to shine. Neptune does not want to be hidden. Neptune does not, it just wants to, it wants to be externalized. This is where you may be someone who is extremely creative and artistic, and everyone in your life knows this about you. You could be someone who easily communicates and expresses the things of Neptune to those around you, whether it's your dreams, whether it's a poem, whether it's a song. It's like you just have this inner yearning to share it with others, to put it into some kind of materialized creative expression. With Neptune here in your chart, this can work out in two different ways, really. So you may be able to find an outlet for this creative expression, especially if you have flowing aspects to your Neptune, especially, from your sun or from Venus. However, if there is more afflictions, it may turn out that, even though you yearn to create these creative or grand gestures and to share it with others, you may end up somehow giving up your creativity in order to please those in your life. So just because the way Neptune works is sometimes it's where we sacrifice, and the sacrifice could be your creative expression in some way. And this can manifest in different ways. Maybe you're someone who, every time you're about to, materialize something, then something else in your life comes along, some kind of responsibility or obligation where you're just not able to do that. At the last minute, you'll have to change. This now brings us to the subject of romance. You guys are extremely romantic. You are someone who can even get carried away with romance. Like many things with Neptune, there are no boundaries. This is where you can really idealize romantic partners, and you can really just dream about a perfect partner or the perfect romantic scenarios. And this can be a positive thing. However, sometimes this can also backfire in the sense that you may over idealize partners and your partner is never able to live up to those high expectations, where, you know, in the beginning of a relationship it'll be going fantastic, and then you will all of a sudden see your partner for who they really are and be let down by the fact that you were not seeing your partner for who they really were in the first place. There can also be issues where maybe there is a secret love affair, because Neptune can also be where we carry secrets or where we hide things. This can look like, because it's in the 5th house and, you know, it's not the 7th house, we have to look at your 7th house to see as far as like long-term partners and your Saturn, if you have like Saturn, Venus. But if you don't, you know, and if your Neptune is afflicted, that there may be lots of short-term romances here that aren't really sustaining you in the long run as far as matters of the heart. For the most part with this placement, even in romantic situations through a love affair, there is a possibility where you won't be able to keep this a secret, because Neptune in the 5th house wants to be on display. This is also where, you know, you may be someone who is openly addicted to drugs, or this is where you could have a drunk in public, or you're someone who maybe in the past you dealt with going to the tank. We call it the tank in California, where you're drunk in public and then they take you and put you in the tank for the night. This is where you might be openly dreamy or spacey, where everyone kind of knows you as someone who is just someone who is very flowing, creative, open, and very, very fluid as far as the arts and your self-expression. Because you yourself have a very large inner child with a very vivid imagination, you are someone with the gift of really being able to uplift and inspire those that are around you. Children may be a big part of your life, and there may need to be sacrifices made here in regards to being a parent. This could be in the form of, or in the thinking of, you know, if I didn't have children, I could have done such and such. Or this could be where you put your child on a pedestal and you will believe that your child is the perfect child, and it doesn't matter what anyone says to you, you know, your son hit my daughter. No, my son did not hit your daughter. You know, my son would never do that, kind of a thing. Or it could look like, you know, there could be mystery around how your child was conceived, where, you know, it was kind of a surprise. There could also be a scenario where you could be the mother or father of a child who is extremely gifted in Neptunian gifts, such as creativity, a child that is truly almost psychic, or who has an extremely high level of intuition. Whatever the case is, as far as children or parenthood within your life, in some way there is a real spiritual lesson that there is an opportunity to learn here through children as well as through becoming a parent. And whether these scenarios are more positive or more challenging, it is very important to ask yourself, you know, what is the lesson that I am learning here? You are someone who could be truly gifted in helping children. This could be children who maybe troubled children and adolescents, children who don't have parents. This could be children with any kind of disability. Somehow helping children and being of service to children is something that could be really healing and really fulfilling for you. I do want to mention, just as a reminder, that with gambling and drinking, that you want to be careful here, because the 5th house is the house of risk and gambling. So you always want to remember that, and you want to make sure that there is a balance in your life here, because Neptune can cloud your judgment. On a last and positive note, I want to say that you guys could be amazing storytellers. You are someone who has such a vivid imagination and kind of just a collection of memories and events that you really could have a gift of. It's almost like you can just draw people in with your stories, because you bring them alive and you color them in a way that is so magical. This is really something that you could be truly gifted in. So this is my interpretation of Neptune in the 5th house. I hope that this video was helpful for you guys. Please feel free to comment and let me know what your personal experiences are here. And I look forward to talking to you guys soon. Thank you.